Meet Anna and Priya. They're both 33. They bought houses on the same street in the same month for the same price, with the same deposit and the same mortgage rate. They both earn $95,000 a year. They both have about $800 a month left over after everything else is paid for. Financially, they are the same person with different opinions about debt. Anna hates owing money, not in a vague way, in a specific, keeps her up at night way. When she looks at her mortgage statement and sees a number with 6 digits in front of it, she doesn't see a normal financial product used by most of the developed world. She sees a bank owning most of her house. So every month, she takes that spare $800 and throws it at the principal. And every month, she watches the balance drop faster than the schedule says it should. She has a spreadsheet. She has color-coded it. Priya doesn't feel anything about her mortgage. To her, it's a bill, like the water bill, except larger and with better paperwork. She looked at her rate, looked at what the stock market has historically returned, noticed one number was bigger than the other, and drew the obvious conclusion. Her spare $800 goes into a broad market index fund on the first of every month, automatically, and she doesn't check it. Same street, same house, same $800. For the next 30 years, we're going to follow both of them. Every payment, every interest charge, every market crash, and every month Anna spends without a mortgage while Priya still has one. And at the end, we'll see which one of them actually came out ahead. The answer is closer than either camp on the internet wants to admit. And there's a specific number that decides it. Let's find out. Both of them bought a house for $400,000. Both put down 20%, so $80,000, which leaves a mortgage of $320,000. Both took a 30-year fixed at 6.5%. Their required monthly payment, principal and interest, is $2,022. If Priya simply pays that for 30 years and never sends a dollar extra, she'll pay a total of about $728,000 on a $320,000 loan, which means roughly $48,000 of it is interest. Sit with that for a second, because it's the number that makes people angry enough to start throwing money at their mortgage. She borrowed $320,000 and she's paying back more than double. Anna is not doing that. Anna is paying $2,122 a month. And here's what that extra $800 does. Her mortgage is gone in 14 years and 8 months, not 22 years, not 25. An extra $800 a month cuts a 30-year mortgage roughly in half. And in doing so, Anna pays about $177,000 in interest instead of $48,000. She saves roughly $231,000 in interest. At this point, most videos stop. $231,000, case closed, go pay off your house. And if that's all you look at, it genuinely does look closed. But it isn't, and I want to explain exactly why. This is usually where somebody says it, and I understand the instinct, because $231,000 is an enormous, tangible, provable number. Here's the problem with it. That $231,000 isn't money Anna receives. It's money she doesn't spend, spread thinly across 15 years she would otherwise have been making payments. It arrives at roughly $300 a month in avoided interest on average, and it arrives late in the back half of the loan. Comparing that to a lump sum is like saying you made $60,000 by canceling a $200 monthly subscription for 25 years. Technically true, not the same thing as having $60,000. And there's a second problem, which is bigger. The $231,000 saving is exactly what makes Anna's later investing possible. She doesn't get to count it twice. Once her mortgage is gone in year 15, she has $2,122 a month free, and she starts investing all of it. That's where her saved interest actually shows up in her net worth. It's already in the model. Adding it separately would be double counting. So the fair way to run this isn't interest saved versus portfolio. It's simpler than that. Both women make identical total monthly payments of $2,120 for 30 years. Anna sends all of it to the bank first, then to the market. Priya sends part to the bank and part to the market simultaneously, the whole way through. Same money, same 30 years, different order. Let's see what the order costs. Anna has been overpaying for 5 years. Her mortgage balance is down to about $242,000, which is genuinely impressive when you consider Priya started at the same place. The house has been appreciating too. At 3.5% a year, it's now worth about $475,000. So Anna's equity is roughly $232,000, and she has nothing invested because every spare dollar went into the walls. Priya's balance is about $295,000. That's $57,000 more debt than Anna, which is exactly the sort of thing that would make Anna feel unwell if she knew about it. Priya's equity is about $175,500. But she's also been putting $800 a month into the market for 60 months, and at an 8% average return, that account holds about $800. Priya's total, about $234,300. Anna's total, about $232,400. After 5 years, a difference of less than $2,000. Two completely opposite strategies, executed perfectly, and you cannot tell them apart. This is worth sitting with because 5 years is roughly as far ahead as most people actually plan. If you're standing at year 0 trying to decide, the honest answer is that for the first several years, it barely matters which one you pick. What matters is that you do one of them instead of letting the $800 evaporate. Before we jump ahead, here's the thing that actually decides this, and once you see it, you can apply it to any rate in any country. When Anna pays $800 extra toward a 6.5% mortgage, she earns a guaranteed 6.5% return. Not a projected one, not an average one. She avoids 6.5% interest on that $800 for the remaining life of the loan. With certainty, regardless of what the economy does, it is the closest thing to a risk-free return available to a normal person. When Priya puts $800 into an index fund, she earns an expected return. Historically, that's been somewhere around 10% before inflation and maybe 7% after. But the distribution around that average is brutal. She could get 15% for a decade. She could get 2% for a decade. She'll almost certainly experience at least 2 drops of 30% or more along the way. So the whole question reduces to one comparison. Is your expected investment return, after tax, higher than your mortgage rate, after tax? That's it. That's the entire debate. Which means the answer is not the same for everybody, and anyone who tells you there's one correct choice is answering a different question than the one you asked. Month 176. Anna makes her final mortgage payment. She owns a house worth about $670,000 outright. Her monthly housing cost drops to property taxes, insurance, and maintenance, and that's it. The single largest bill in her life just stopped existing, permanently, at age 48. I don't want to breeze past that, because the spreadsheet treats it as a line item, and it doesn't feel like a line item. Anna's required income to keep a roof over her head just fell by about $2,000 a month. Her entire risk profile changed in one afternoon. And now she gets aggressive. The full $2,822 goes into the market every month from here. Priya, on the other hand, is exactly halfway through her mortgage. She still owes about $232,000. She still pays $2,022 every month. She has 15 more years of that in front of her, but she also has an account worth about $276,800, built from $800 a month and 15 years of compounding. Let's total them up at year 15. Anna, house worth $670,000, no mortgage, about $11,000 invested, net $681,000. Priya, $437,900 in equity, plus $276,800 invested, net $741,700. Priya is ahead by about $33,000. After 15 years, on a rate of 6.5% against an 8% return, her lead is roughly 1 year's salary. That's the part the internet gets wrong in both directions. The invest everything crowd talks like Priya should be lapping her. She isn't. And the debt-free crowd talks like Anna should be untouchable. She isn't either. Year 30, the finish line. Both women are 63, both own identical houses, now worth about $122,000, and both own them outright. Anna has been investing $2,120 a month for the last 184 months. At 8%, her portfolio is worth about now $1,000. Priya has been investing $800 a month for all 360 months. At 8%, hers is worth about $192,000. Priya finishes ahead by roughly $178,000. So after 30 years, identical incomes, identical houses, identical total monthly outlay, the difference between paying off the mortgage first and investing alongside it is about $178,000. Meaningful, not life-altering, roughly 8% of either woman's total net worth. Now watch what happens when I change one number, run the whole thing again with a 6% average return instead of 8%, and Anna finishes with about $848,700, while Priya finishes with about $803,600. Anna wins by about $45,000. Run it at 7%, and Priya wins by about $49,000. Run it at 10%, and Priya's lead balloons past $500,000. The crossover point sits at almost exactly 6.5%, which is the mortgage rate. That isn't a coincidence, and it's the whole video in one line. Paying down your mortgage is a guaranteed return equal to your interest rate. Investing beats it only when your after-tax return beats that rate. Below it, Anna wins. Above it, Priya wins. The maths has no opinion about which one is virtuous. The condition attached to Priya's win, here's where the spreadsheet stops being useful. Priya's $1.19 million assumes she invested $800 on the first of every month for 360 consecutive months and never once stopped, including the months where her portfolio fell 35% and every headline explained why this time the damage was permanent. including the year she got laid off, including the year the roof needed replacing, and $800 a month suddenly looked very optional. Most people don't do this. Not because they're stupid, but because a voluntary transfer is a decision you have to make again every single month, and Anna's overpayment isn't. That's the honest advantage of Anna's plan, and it's a real one. A mortgage payment is a bill. Bills get paid. There's a bank on the other end with a legal claim and a strong opinion about lateness. Nobody sends you a threatening letter for skipping your index fund contribution. If Priya invests $800 a month for 11 years and then quietly stops, she doesn't end up with $119 million. She ends up behind Anna permanently with a mortgage she still owes and a portfolio that stalled. But there's a second thing, and I think it matters more than the discipline argument. Look at year 20 again. Anna has been mortgage-free for 5 years. Her minimum monthly survival cost is a few $100s in taxes and insurance. Priya still owes about $170,000 and still needs $2,120 a month, every month, no exceptions. Now imagine a recession hits in year 20. Both of them lose their jobs in the same quarter that the market falls 35%. Anna's portfolio falls too. She's not immune. But her required outgoings are tiny, so she can sit still, live off savings, take a lower paid job if she has to, and simply not sell anything. She waits it out. Priya has to find $2,022 a month, while her portfolio is down 35%. If her emergency fund runs out, she sells shares at the bottom to make mortgage payments. That single forced sale can cost her more than 15 years of the strategy's advantage. The maths says Priya wins by $178,000. The maths assumes nothing bad happens at the wrong moment. Real life declines to make that assumption. I've been generous to Anna, so let me be fair in the other direction, because her strategy has one flaw that people consistently underestimate. Extra mortgage payments are a one-way door. Every $800 Anna sends to the bank is gone. It reduces her balance, it reduces her future interest, and it does absolutely nothing for her if she needs cash next Tuesday. She cannot withdraw it. The mortgage company will not send it back because she overpaid last year. If she needs $40,000, she has to borrow her own money back through a home equity loan or a refinance at whatever interest rate exists on that day, subject to whether a lender feels like approving her, which notably they usually don't when you've just lost the job that would let you repay it. Priya's money is liquid. She can sell part of the portfolio on a Tuesday afternoon and have cash by Friday. So there's a sequencing rule that overrides this entire debate. Build the emergency fund before you do either. 3 to 6 months of expenses. In cash, boring, and accessible. An aggressive overpayment plan sitting on top of an empty savings account isn't a financial strategy. It's a bet that nothing will go wrong for 15 years. And there's one more thing that beats both women. If Priya's $800 goes into a retirement account with an employer match, say 50 cents on the dollar, she gets an instant 50% return before the market does anything at all. No mortgage rate on earth competes with that. Not 6.5%, not 9%. So the order is not up for debate. Take the full employer match first. Always. Then have this argument with whatever's left. So what should you actually do? Look at your mortgage rate and be honest about which side of the line you're standing on. Below roughly 5%. Invest. A 4% mortgage against a portfolio that historically returns 7% after inflation isn't close, and inflation is quietly eroding that debt for you every year. Overpaying a 3% mortgage in an era of 4% savings accounts is an emotional decision, not a mathematical one. That's allowed, but know which one you're making. Above roughly 7%, pay it down. A guaranteed 7% return, risk-free, with no tax bill and no volatility, is genuinely excellent. You will not find that anywhere else without taking real risk. At 8% or 9%, it isn't even a discussion. Between 5% and 7%. This is the honest gray zone, and it's where most people actually are. Split it, half toward the mortgage, half into the market. You'll capture most of the upside, you'll shorten the loan meaningfully, and this is the part people skip, you'll actually stick with it because neither half of your brain is being ignored. 2 adjustments before you decide. If you itemize and genuinely deduct your mortgage interest, your effective rate is lower than the number on the statement. A 6.5% mortgage at a 24% marginal rate is really costing you about 4.9%, which pushes you toward investing. Most people take the standard deduction now, and this doesn't apply to them, so check rather than assume. And on the other side, Priya's gains will eventually face tax, while Anna's interest saving is entirely tax-free. That narrows the gap by more than people expect. Because after 30 years, the difference between Anna and Priya was about $178,000, and it could have gone the other way with a return 2 percentage points lower. The gap between either of them and the person who had $800 a month spare and did neither is about $1 million. That's the real comparison. Anna and Priya are arguing over the last 8%. They both already won the part that mattered on the day they decided the $800 had a job. Subscribe to my channel for more videos working through the actual maths behind everyday money decisions. And tell me in the comments, what's your mortgage rate and are you overpaying it? Or are you one of the people sitting on a 2.9% rate from 2021? In which case, I don't need to run the numbers and neither do you.